Good morning, everybody, and thank you, Nikita, for the introduction, and thank you, everybody, for being part of this new webinar that we're going to try to explain to you why to switch to GeoGraphix and GVERSE products. The agenda for today we're trying to follow is why to switch to GeoGraphix and GVERSE, where GeoGraphix sales and the migration part, GeoGraphix and GVERSE integration demo, and the resources and the next steps. So why the Geographic or why to migrate to Geographic? It's a very solid company at the software too, founded in 1984. We have presence all over the world. We have offices here in the US, in Canada, Trinidad, Ecuador, Dubai, Pakistan, Malaysia, and so far. And we have a lot of channel partners, also in different parts of the world, like Egypt, Indonesia, Mexico, etc. We have more than 4,000 clients worldwide, more than 29,000+ licenses installed, and we have a pretty big, robust team. Not only for the sales and marketing team, customer support, development, and actually geoscience that help to develop the team, the software, the different products and programs that we added into GeoGraphix and GVERSE, and helping with different others issues. GeoGraphix and GVERSE. GeoGraphix is a very complete and affordable geoscience system software, and it's fully integrated with the GVERSE module. The GVERSE modules, a lot of people asking what they are, is complement modules and complement tools that work directly with GeoGraphix. We have the GVERSE modules for the attribute, file planner, connect, web steering, predictions, seismic inversion, geomodeling, geophysics, and petrophysics. GeoGraphix and GVERSE is a very robust relation database and project management in a multi-user and concurrent access environment, or for a single user. We have a presentation quality mapping technology supported by the industry standard GIS, ArcGIS, RMAP, that we know that a lot of people use it. Industry-leading geological capability, including petrophysics, oil correlation, data analysis, in support with the geomodeling interpretation, tight integration between the geophysical and geological interpretation in a very nice, robust, and easy to use 3D environment, and high value offering with a competitive price point, which is, for a lot of people, is very important, this part. If you need help to migrate the data from whatever software you're using at this moment into GeoGraphix, the process is not that painful, like a lot of people probably think. It's actually quite simple. We can help you to migrate, depending on the size of the project. If it's a very big project, in probably in one day, the whole data. If it's a small project, we can do it in an hour or so. We can move data. Most of the vendors produce GGX, Geographic, ASCII 2, 3 or 4 well data format, for example, IHS, drilling info, TGX. You can also import well data through our macro import tool, which is installed in Excel. We can move a base map data using shape files or layer files, import into GeoGraphix. All the layers that you create in GeoGraphix are shape files. You can bring subsurface layers as a ASCII XYZ or using the CMAP Plus format. We can transform all the coordinate system and sources that you have in your original project in GeoGraphix. Even though if you are using a very unique coordinate system in your project, or your data is coming in a very unique coordinate system, you can create your personal and coordinate system inside GeoGraphix. Also, GeoGraphix supports .leak depth registration format. You can import LES, LBS curve data, and you can bring the typical statewide 2D and 3D seismic data, and some other different type of format. We have integration and connection, direct connection between GeoGraphix other projects, OpenWorks, We have a tool that helps you to connect between OpenWorks and Geographic OpenWorks. And we have one of the GVERSE tools, GVERSE Connect, to connect between Geographics and BRoll to bring data back and forth. Like as I mentioned, if you use a different other software, you can also bring the data as ASCII, Excel, AutoCAD, S3, ArcGIS, TIFF, JPEG, all the typical data, type of data that they are in the market. Also in Geographic, you can use the software standalone on multi-user network, depending on the license. The projects, they can range for one well, one seismic line, to, I've seen over 1 million wells with 300,000 or 400,000 curves data, big seismic. So the limitation is always a relationship between software and hardware. We have also, we pretty much support all the most common vendors in the industry. We have a IHS ENORDEC connection inside our database. So if you have ENORDEC, we can bring the data easily. We synchronize if you're using OpenWorks with the OpenWorks data. We have a layer history and layer import reports, which means if you have a Geographics project or you acquire a Geographics project or you're working in an old Geographics project and you want to move data, you can also open the report and see what kind of data was imported inside the report, who imported the data, when the data was imported into the software, and also you can see the layers, who create a layer, if the layer is in an AUI, if we use a filter to create that layer, what is the name of the filter, what is included in that filter. You can have that information as a report. So now we're gonna jump a little bit to a live demo to see how is Geographics and GVERSE integration in the latest version of Geographic, which is 2019.2, just came out to the market. And this one is Geographic. When you open Project Explorer, you want to see here all your projects. You can work with Geographic as a standalone, having the data and all the information in a server. The server could be a virtual server or a physical server. It doesn't matter really what you have. If you're working in a server, multiple users can access at the same time the same data and the same project. Or if you work in standalone or BitLog, which is the little dongle key, just a single users can access that project at that moment. Geographics work very, very, very close with Microsoft, so you can run Geographics on Windows 7 or Windows 10, these versions. All the capabilities that you can see and use in Microsoft. For example, if I want to move probably this map to one project to another one, you just copy, go to the project and paste, and you can move data very easy between projects. Here at the top, we have all the different modules and tools that we use inside Geographics. As I was mentioned, in Microsoft Office, you have Excel, PowerPoint, Access, and all those tools to do different things. And all these tools, they're going to interact with each other. The same happens with Geographics. If you want to create your own coordinate system, we have the coordinate system manager. If you want to calibrate a raster image or a chord picture or whatever type of image, you can do in depth registration, create maps, geological interpretation, to work with synthetic IDOs, information. If you want to do post-tag data, connectivity between OpenWorks, create a well base, working with the seismic, you can do it with any of those tools. So when you start working with Geographic, you create your project, you give it your coordinate system, and the first thing probably you want to do is to import the data. So we go to the wells, import, and you're going to see that we have a lot of connectivity with the most common data companies in the market. So you can bring data from IHS 297, 298, drilling info as ASCII 4. You can bring IQMap, congressional import, ASCII 2 and 3 data. You can even, like I was mentioned, you can bring using your Excel spreadsheet, or you can create your own personal import tool using our DevCom. Because our database is a SQL, a site-based database, and it's very flexible for the people to create whatever type of the import they want to do into Geographics and bring the data the way that you want to bring it. When you import the data, the first thing you're going to import and open is the well-based database. The well-based database is kind of the brain of the Geographics. So all the information, well information is going to be stored here. In this window, I just showing that we have the header, we have all the wells. This is a very tiny project, just 49 wells. You have your information tabs. You can create your own personal strat column and bring in all the information. If you want to create different filters, if you want to do production data, you can select the production filter and work whatever check which well they have production. In this case, just 10 well they have the production. You can select and see a declination curve graph for the production, manipulate the production data, create layers, select any other type of filters. If you want to see which wells they have curve data, you can select this one, wells with curve, see here in vector, which is a LES file, and see which wells they have information imported and what type of curve data they have imported in each well. I just select a different well, and it's going to inform me that I have this SP curve starting from 84 feet, and the base is 600,000 feet. You can also create your own personal filters, clicking by the query builder. This one is a very nice tool because it's you can create whatever information that you want. In this case, I just select for the formation alias.zip, run it and save it, and you can save that information inside the well base and display that information just for the filter that you created. We have a direct connectivity. If you have Google Earth, just click install Google Earth and click on it, and it's going to display the wells inside Google Earth. If you want to create layers, because you import all the well data, you have all the information, you can create a production graph layer or a well-based layers. All the layers inside Geographics, they are shape files. So this one is the well-based. It's all the information that you have import here. You can create as a layer if you have IP, if you have a DST, if you have core analysis, completion, any type of information that you import inside your well base. You can create a layer. That's simple. I just select the information that you want, select the information tab, the source, click OK. And if you have a filter, just select the filter. Apply the filter to the layer, which means if you have a big project, 100,000 wells, but you only want to see the wells that have the gamma ray in this specific formation top, you can create a filter, bring here and apply the filter to that specific well. If you want to work in a multi-environment in a network project, you can create also your source manager. You can create your own personal source. We also recommend that one. And the source, it could be public or private. If you're working in a public source, anybody can use the source and anybody can actually play with the tops and all that, all the pickings that you do inside the project. But you can select this one and mark it as a private, and the users can see the source, they can use it, but they cannot manipulate the picks or anything inside the database. All right, so we created wells, we add all the wells, we see all the information. Now we want to see if we can see those wells easily in a map, because we want to make sure that these guys here, the latitude, longitude, or the X and Y that we import inside the well-based database, they are reflected in a nice location. This is not going to blow my extents, and I didn't put the wells that I was supposed to be working in Oklahoma and displays in Arkansas. So the easy way, we add this information and we open a GeoAtlas, which is a module that to create mapping inside Geographics. GeoAtlas works very close with Esri ArcGIS. So in this version, we are compatible with Esri ArcGIS 10.6 and 10.6.1. If you have Esri ArcGIS in your office and you use it, and you want to connect to the S3 ArcGIS, you can connect to the server or the computer that have S3 ArcGIS, add the connection, and bring the layer from S3 inside GeoGraphix and vice versa. Or you can use one of the free services of S3 of Arc Online, for example, this one, that you can connect and select any of the information they have over there for free. You don't have to pay anything. That is a service that we're giving to our customers. Bring any of the satellites image, map, etc., and display into your map. This one I'm going to turn it off. Also in GeoAtlas, if you have production data and you want to display a production graph, you can bring it and display and create a layer. All the information is already import in WorldBase and display the production graph right there. If you import LAS files or LBS or any type of data that you work with the petrophysical analysis, and you work with some petrophysical analysis, you can bring actually the petrophysical analysis right here. I just create GVERSE petrophysics log. This one is based on arch interpretation for a specific depth between two formations. And if you want to do some, mapping to see the porosity, or if you want to see permeability, I can also display this information to give him a guidance of how is the tendencies on my map. You can also display data that you created. You import horizons inside, use seismic interpretation, create your horizons map, that's conversion, whatever velocity or whatever map that you create in the seismic, you can bring it inside right here. This one is a horizon depth map. You have your grid, you have your list. If you have your list information, you can display the list information inside your mapping. Your cultural and all that information that you want to bring inside the mapping tools. We can also create well paths. We can create wells. If you want to create a launch a field planner to plan wells, you can access our field planner tool. This is a field planner tool that allows you to plan wells based on the information that you have into your map. You can also add DEM elevation models. And if you have hazards in shape file for the surface and subsurface, you can add it, and the software automatically is going to create different plans of the well, using that information to avoid any of hazards inside your area. You can also see the well planner when you create well paths at the wells. You can all the wells that you have into your area. You create the slot one side, two sides, and all the way up to 32 wells for each side. You can also select it, save it into the database, and select the wells and to bring it into a field planner, well planner. With this tool, you can see the schematic of the well, see how it look like. You select your target that you want to drill. This one is the K horizon. You can see the schematic of the well, play with the well to see how it's going to look like. If it's not possible to drillable, it's going to tell you that mechanical is not possible. You can create surveys automatically for you and export that information to give it to the drilling team, all in one application. That's very nice, but we want to probably to work also in some cross-section. And as geologists, I would like to see cross-section. For the cross-section and on the geological analysis, we can go to this tool that's called Diversion Modeling, which is a geological interpretation tool. Which is Diversion Modeling, you have the capability to see all your interpretation wells, a surface in a very nice, easy, managed 3D tool. And it's totally integrated with GeoGraphix. All the layers that you create in GeoAtlas, in the mapping tool, you're going to be able to display it right here to give you a better idea. For example, here I can have all the satellite image. I just brought that satellite image and just brought my wells that have production, 2D seismic line, horizon logs, leases, and etc. and displaying inside my GeoModeling tool. What is the idea of that is because you want to integrate what you're doing in mapping right away, right here. In diversion modeling, you can do different type of cross-section, the typical well-to-well. You have a defined cross-section, and you add the wells perpendicular to the cross-section. You have the buffer is the same of defined, but you can create a radius, or you have the block diagram, a cross-section. The block diagram cross-section, let me select them and open right away. It's going to show you if you have a lot of wells, directional wells, and you're planning the well, or you want to see what's going on in that area, you can display those wells like these little 2 dots that are directional wells, and imagine those dots are coming out of the screen. So you can see the distance between each one, the horizontal distance, turning off the information, and have an idea if you want to plan the wells, or wide if you're doing a geological interpretation, which one is the target of those wells. You can also, as I was mentioned, you can create a well-to-well cross-section, and all the cross-section that you create automatically is going to appear on the 3D view. How many cross-section can you create inside diversion modeling? As many as you want. How many wells? I've seen people having 70, 80 wells cross-section inside diversion modeling. Inside the cross-section, you can add the formation top, pick your formation top, change the template for the wells, add your folds. If you want to add any of the templates that you use in your petrophysical interpretation, you can just come here, select the wells. The well automatically is going to show you the different curve information that each well had, and you can come here and start selecting any of the templates that you want. If you want to select this one, a specific template, is the one that I'm using right now. This one is to have a different type of archive information, or if I want to add any of the template individual for each well, you can add it in the cross section. You can also add, if you you have raster images and you want to display raster images inside your cross section, you can open the cross section and you can calibrate the raster images and bring it into your interpretation. How do you calibrate these beautiful, nice raster images? We have a tool called depth registration that you can bring a different type of images, JPEG, leak files, MJ, etc., bringing into depth registration associated with a well, calibrate it, save it, and use it into your correlation. You can even use it for your petrophysical analysis. And this raster images, they're going to be used in the same section that you have LAS file. Even though if you have wells that have both, you can create templates to display the LAS files, and they create the raster images. If you have in your project seismic data and you bring the seismic data, work with the seismic data, you can also display the seismic data as a backdrop, and you're going to be able to see the seismic data into your interpretation as well. If you're working in a specific area and you want to see, if you want to calculate a specific section that you're trying to drill and cut, you can go select, tell the software which formation top to base you want to do, and the software is going to calculate automatically the percentage that you are in that specific zone. This one is very useful, especially if you work in horizontal wells and you're doing geosteering. You can see the percentage of the time that you're navigating into that section. Also in diversion modeling, we have a tool to do geosteering, which is a smart strat that helps you to do geosteering with your interpretation. We talk about the seismic data. The seismic data you can bring into geophysics. You just import your 2D, 3D, SegWide information. Again, all the layers that you create in your mapping tool, you're going to be able to display here. You have your logs data, you have your faults, the information, and as in Geomodeling, you can work with your seismic data in a 3D interpretation. Right here, I just add the mapping, I just add all the layers that I have into my GeoAtlas, And you can display it right here. I have my 2D, my 3D seismic cube. I just open a couple of inline cross lines. I have my horizon displaying right there. I create a geobody. You can calculate, extrapolate the information of the geobody. You can also display the wiggles. You can display, if you want to say, the power spectrum into that information. You can see the power spectrum of the seismic inside a little window to show you the difference between this power spectrum. If you have a different seismic cube, you can add it as many seismic cubes if you want. You can open all the seismic cube in the interpretation. In this case, I create different attributes, seismic attributes I just was able to display. So I can just select the attribute, display it into my interpretation. You have a velocity, have a semblance, or I have an instantaneous frequency, and can apply it for each individual inline or cross line that I have. If I have 2D seismic data, I can also display the 2D seismic data, bring the wells, work with the synthetics, and all that information in a very interactive way. We're talking about creating attributes inside GeoGraphix physics. We can create different types of attributes. We have the typical attribute calculator, the average, total and mean, and all those type of attribute calculator. But we have also more advanced tools. Once to create seismic prediction, we can do seismic colorate inversion, and we can create more advanced attributes. Open GVERSE attribute, you're going to be able to preview the attribute before you create the module, the model, the volume, sorry. With this tool, I believe it's one of the first one, it's the only one in the market. You can bring your inline, cross line, whatever that you want to use. You can switch to times line, cross line, inline. Display, you can display up to, I believe, 15 or 20 different windows and go to any of our 52 different attributes that we have here, click on it and apply it right away, which is going to give you a preview of the attribute that you want to use. I want to select the semblance. It's going to do your calculation, and it's going to give you the preview of that information that you have. You can create a RGBA, co-blending, put in a 3D, see the horizon, and all that information inside the attribute. The difference between this attribute tool and the other end of the market is that you can see a preview. You can have an idea of what's going on, how's your attribute. I can see probably here my fault. I like it. And after that, I generate the volume and bring it into my seismic interpretation package. The difference with the other attributes tools is that you create the attribute and you go blindfolded. You don't know how it's going to look like until you generate the volume and you apply that volume into your interpretation. Here, you're going to be 100% sure that what you see is what you're going to get into the interpretation. So, as I mentioned, you can bring it into your seismic and display it right there into the seismic interpretation. We can also create and work with petrophysical analysis. We open the GVERSE Petrophysics. It's a very robust tool, our personal tool inside GeoGraphix that to do petrophysical analysis. You can import DLEs, LAS, deviated survey data, deep meter data, any type of data that you want to bring into petrophysical analysis, display cross-plot, do multi-well cross-plot, working with some reports to see, for example, in this case, I have a SP, RW, SW report to see the average of that information. If I want to create my own equations, I can create my own equations, apply here, or use one of the equations that's already inside Prism. Select the mechanical water saturation and apply that one to the entire well, or you can use to a specific zone that you want to study. apply that information to every single well or to one single well. You can also create normalization curve. You can export the curve data. You can bring the information to another interpretation, pay summation, curve data statistic. If you want to see the statistic of specific data, I can select it, for example, in this case, when I'm going to add the average for the whole well bore. For every single well, they have SP, and you just create a data statistic for every single well. They have SP. For the average, it's going to show me right here. You can save in a clipboard, or you can create an isomap layer and display that information as a layer. Save it as an interpretation and use it later. All the UDE equations that you create in Prism or GeoGraphix Petrophysics that is now, they're in. You can exchange with other users, within other projects. You can bring it and use it over and over and over. And all the templates that you create here they're the templates that you're going to be using inside GGX Geomodeling. So all the templates that you can see here that I'm using right here, they're the templates that I have created in Prism. Also in GeoGraphix Geomodeling, we can use these tools to do some geological modeling based on our information they have here. I'm going to display my surface. Automatically the surface is going to create an isomap based on the 3-point minimal curvature calculation. And I already told the software that I have some faults. I brought the faults actually for the seismic interpretation associated and apply the formation fault and fault network into the software. So when I apply the tool, it's going to do the calculation, and I'm going to be able to see the faults right here. And if I want to bring it into my interpretation, my 3D interpretation, I can add the fault planes right there. So you can see how the faults, how it changes, the structural mapping, and you can export that structural mapping if you're interested, and save it and see it in GeoAtlas. Just say, create an isomap layer, add, well, include all the fault polygon, give it a name, save it, and use it in GeoAtlas. If you have an area that have unconformities, they have a non-deposition area, and all that information, you can also display that information in GeoGraphix Geomodeling. You can select the data, you can select the surface, you go to the unconformity trimming, unconformity network, the information, the software is going to run the tool right for you. So it's showing that this formation right here, there was some unconformity, and so there was a deposition right there. And we can display that information into my 3D map. Let me add the surface right there. We can turn this one off, and we can see how it's kind of empty right there. I just exaggerate this data. If I want to turn it off, the software is going to think, and this automatically is non-conformity right there, and you can see it. If we want to display also in the maps, we can display and see the information on the map, on the conformity tools, and you can see it right here, how it's going to show me kind of that channel right there. So it's very nice for the interpretation of the geological data. So with the diversion modeling, we actually integrated the geophysical, petrophysical well data into one module. And with Geographic, you can integrate different part of the geoscience analysis into one big database without the necessity of exporting import data between modules in one unique project that a lot of the users can access at the same time. Going back to the presentation, let's go with the presentation. You can also run Geographics without any risk. If you don't want to expend money to get new computers, you still have your computers that you use, but you want to be able to access Geographics from anywhere in the world or in this country. You can also create your project, get the service of any cloud company. There are so many cloud companies inside in the market right now. We internally use one specific a cloud company called Paperspace to connect all our projects, and you can set up the projects, geographic projects on the cloud. Put your data over there, and we also have GeoGraphix Go, which is a cloud licensing based service. which means that you pay as you use. If you want to use GeoAtlas one day, just click on it and you're going to be charged just only for that day. If you want to use any of these high-end attributes tool, prediction, colored inversion, you can set it up, click in one day, and you're going to be charging only for that day. The next step, if you want to replay this webinar or see any other of the webinars that we have in our website, you can go to lmcare.com/geographic/demos, and you want to see a lot of the old webinars right there. If you want to maximize your investment and you want to take a training class to be more familiar with the software and to take more advantage of our software, you can always go to the lmcare.com/geographic/training. And if you want to request a quote or contact your regional sales managers, you can go to the products at lmcare.com. Here, they are the support.lmcare.com website. In this website, you can download the installer for the software, create cases, find solutions, read white papers, and all that information that you need to start working and be familiar with Geographics. And in the right one is the lmcare.com, where you can see the webinars, see our products, different services, training, to the academia process that we have, the e-store, contact us, and etc.